Hello, today we are going to present about the movie. The movie name is The Patriot. So let's start with the introduction. This movie name is The Patriot, directed by Lauren Emmerich and was released in 2000. Next is synoptic of the movie. The Patriot is a movie that tells the story through the main character Benjamin Martin, a farmer soldier who wants to live a peaceful life in countryside. However, when war reached his family, he had to return to the battlefield to protect his family and fight for country freedom. Next is the setting. This movie is set in 18th century in South Carolina, America. It takes place after French and Indian War, in which French were defeated. The financial burdens from this war led British to impose heavy tax on the American colonists, sparking growing resentment and ultimately leading to the American Revolution, also called the U.S. War Independence. And more citizens in South Carolina were loyalists, making a stronghold for British Empire. It allowed the British to control much of South by covering land territories. The city also led to the American coastline, as this was a period of increased immigration to America. Additionally, the South still realized slavery during that time.
The Patriot presents themes of patriotism and freedom, shown through characters like Benjamin Martin and his companions who choose to fight, even facing risk or death, to protect the country's liberty and independence. The film also reflects to patriotism, standing firm for family and the future of the next generation. For example, in the final battle, when the front lines are about to break, Benjamin is the one who inspires everyone to not give up and keep fighting for the country. Additionally, the film highlights freedom of choice through various characters, such as the colonists having the right to decide whether to join the war or return to their families, and even slaves being given the opportunity to choose whether to fight for freedom or not. The movie reflects important historical events like the American Revolution, where people fought for freedom and independence from England through characters like Benjamin Martin and others. These characters shows patriotism by standing firm for their country, not giving up and striving for independence. They also demonstrate self-sacrifice for the greater good, even if it means risking their lives as well as protecting their family and loved ones to ensure a peaceful life and pass it on to future generations.
In the Patriot, there's a lot of symbols like the flag, bullet, axe, and the house, and each one have its own meaning. Let's start with the first one, the American flag. The American flag in the movie is a powerful symbol of patriotism, bravery, and the fight for freedom. In the final scene, when Benjamin Martin runs with the flag, it shows that they won the war and gained their independence. The flag represents hope and pride in the country. By carrying it, Benjamin shows that all the sacrifice and hard work were worth it. The scene really captures the emotion and meaning behind the flag, making it clear that their fight for freedom was successful. Last but not least is the burning house. The house that burning down is another powerful symbol. It represents the loss and destruction of peace. The house wasn't just a place to live in, but it's a symbol of safety, love, and family. When the British soldier burned down, it shows how war can destroy everything, even the most important thing in life. This moment also connects to the loss of his son, showing how war takes away not just homes, but loved ones too. It's a painful reminder of the sacrifice made during the time of the conflict. So the overall of the Patriot uses this symbol to make the story even more emotional and meaningful, showing how war affects the people on a deep and personal level.
In the movie The Patriot, the development of each character shows the character's various transformation. The character Benjamin at first as someone who tried to avoid violence and wars, a peaceful man who wants to live a simple life with his family, but when faced with war, he becomes a leader in the war for freedom and justice, showing unwavering determination in battle. For example, in scene, Benjamin gives order to soldier during battle. Additionally, there is character development among a volunteer soldier who begin as inexperienced fighter but learn to strategize and fight, ultimately becoming soldier ready for battle. For example, in battle, soldiers use ambush tactics by hiding in bushes and trees, demonstrating their transformation from ordinary village to strong soldier.
Next is the narrative style. The Patriot tells its story in a linear storytelling where events happen in order they occur. It starts by showing Benjamin and his family living peacefully before the war begins. As the story goes on, we see how Benjamin is pulled into the war, face personal loot, and fight for freedom. This clear timeline helps the audience understand his character journey and the events of the American Revolution. And the film also includes real historical events and people like the battle between the colonists and the British, and characters such as General Cornwallis. These historical references make the film feel more real and show how the story connects to the actual events of the American Revolution. By combining a simple timeline with a real history, the Patriot character as exciting and meaningful story.
Next, we are going to talk about cinematic techniques. These include cinematography, color, lighting, and music. First, cinematography. The Patriot makes excellent use of the shots to capture the vast landscape, such as the house in the field. These shots give the audience a strong sense of the place and historical scene. During the battle scenes, the camera movement is dynamic and fast-paced, heightening the tensions and immersing the viewer in the actions. The next slide will show some example scenes. The color that used in the Patriot. As you can see the contrast between the day and night color in the film. During daylight, the film employs the composition tint, soft garish, brown tones to exhibit a mild historical aesthetic reinforce the sense of being in the 18th century, similar to the colonial American art, which ties into the film setting. As you can see on the slide, the scenes in the night are dominated by blue hues instead of their pale black. This stylistic choice adds a cold and somber atmosphere. The blue tone visually emphasizes feelings of loss and sorrow. Moving on to lighting, the film heavily relies on the ambient lighting, the using natural light such as the morning sunlight. This approach enhances realism and mirrors the aesthetic styles of American colonial paintings, adding the authenticity to the historical. Now, let's discuss how these elements contribute to the film overall message. I have seen that Patriots use both literary and thematic techniques to enhance the themes of their certified patriotism and the emotional toll of wars. For example, the instance of a battle scenes features the American flag as a symbol to the inspired patriotic feeling. Additionally, John Williams' powerful score reinforced the emotional weight of key moments, whether through the heroic themes or the melancholic melodies.
Together, these elements remind us of the war is not just about the victory and glory, it's also about the personal uh, sacrifice, national identity, and the deep emotional scars left behind.
From the movie The Patriot, our group thinks it is a historical fiction that portrays the period of American Revolution. It made us emotionally involved and able to connect with the characters' feelings. The movie showed a view of America during that time where the British are portrayed as more brutal than they were in reality. In the truth, both sides were equal cruel, relating to feeling of loss like losing loved ones or family member. The film also clearly divides the character into sides, the good and the bad. The good side is represented by Benjamin Martin, while the bad side is represented by William Towington. In one scene, Towington showed no sympathy for injured soldiers and ordered them to be killed. This presentation highlights the importance of independence and making decisions for oneself. Therefore, this movie is a good representation of the importance of freedom and human rights.
The film also clearly divides the characters into two sides, the good and the bad. The good side is represented by the main character Benjamin Martin, while the bad side is represented by William Towington. In one scene, Towington shows no sympathy for injured soldiers and orders them to be killed. This presentation highlights the importance of independence and making decisions for oneself. Therefore, this movie is a good representation of the importance of freedom and human rights.
So from the movie, I learned about the patriotism of Americans. They fought together to protect their homeland and sacrifice one life for one's country. Also, I learned that everyone in America had the right to make decisions like if they want to join the war or not. I also learned about the family in America, sociality like the character Benjamin. He loved his family very much, so he decided to fight in the war again for his family.
The Patriot taught me about the unity of a group of people fighting for their own country. Even though it was risky and dangerous, they were ready to fight for justice and the freedom of their nation to protect their families and loved ones. It also helped me learn about the history of the American Revolution, showing the honorable sacrifice that were made, which left a lasting impression in the movie.
Watching The Patriot really opened my eyes to the reality of the war and what people went through during the American Revolution. It showed how individuals sacrifice everything, like their lives, their family, and all for the chance at freedom. It made me realize that just how deeply patriotism runs in the American culture. It's not just about being proud of your country, but it's actually fighting for it, standing up for what you believe in, and being willing to make a huge sacrifice for the greater good, even if it means losing something or someone you love.
After I watched the Patriot movie, I think it provides a powerful depiction of both loss and sacrifice that allow me to better understand the emotions and human in the American Revolution. It also highlights the rooted American values of individualism or personal freedom. Through the Benjamin Martin journeys, the movie also emphasizes the importance of family, showing how personal circles are deeply intertwined with the larger fight for independence. Finally, it reinforces the idea of a freedom is something worth fighting for.
From the Patriot, we learned that American literatures and cultures emphasize patriotism, sacrifice for ideas, and freedom. The theme of patriotism and sacrifice are central to the story. The characters do not fight because they are forced to, but because they want to protect their own freedom. The film showed that patriotism is not merely about loyalty to the nation, but is about standing up for one's family, homeland, and right and ideologies deeply rooted in American cultures. The concept of freedom in this frame reflects the idea that all men are created equal. Although at that time freedom was still restricted for central groups such as slave, the Patriot illustrated the beginning of the struggle for right, which later expanded into movements for equality in America.